Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTKDB. Let's Talk Radio. We are doing the interview series today of the Psychic Hour, and we have YuSon Shin on, and she is a healer, a psychic medium, just multi-talented with the different modalities that she brings. So we will be definitely talking about the different foundations that she has to become the healer and the intuitive and the medium that she is today. So yes, everyone come on in. Hello, hello. Hi, Joe. Hi, Tina. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Paula. Hi, everybody coming in. Hi, Christine. And so this is the opportunity if you want to share your, own thoughts and experiences with healing or psychic mediumship and ask questions while we're talking. And we'll get them like more towards the later of the show, but we're gonna just have a lovely discussion of all things about that. And I always love to include people. So welcome everybody. The topic of today that I'd like to talk about is really bringing back your energy. Okay, so there are always topics within energy that are covered, and I'm sure it's like, putting your energy out, making yourself seen, but also bringing your energy back when you've, let's say, overextended, or if you find yourself depleted, or maybe you're just scattered, right? Call your energy back. And I feel like it's so powerful to illustrate something so simple because when you go, let's say, get a Reiki session or like any other type of healing, that entire time is devoted to you getting your energy back, whether it's 45 minutes, an hour, or more. That time is someone focusing on you to help generate energy, right? And help to give a certain amount of, synergy in the room to focus back the energy flowing back within you, but also just for yourself, like within your own experience, because the practitioner has their own experience and then you have your own experience and then there's the shared experience. But in your own experience, let's say you are on the Reiki table for 45 minutes, right? And I'm just using Reiki because it is such a classic example of how many different energy healing styles can kind of be. You just receive energy in a certain way. Reiki is very relatable. So it could be many different, right? But your eyes are closed typically, and you are processing emotions, thoughts, memories. Maybe you're aware of the energy, or maybe you just like let go and go to sleep, or you go into a deep meditative state. But that entire time, not only is the practitioner helping to reconfigure your energy, but you're reconfiguring your energy as well. You are, instead of looking at the world around you, because our eyes, it takes so much energy, even though we take it for granted. It takes so much energy to look at things all day, hear things all day, feel things all day, and all our energy is like going out. Look over there at that, or what do I think about this, or how is this person doing? All of our energy, largely, not completely, but it's going out. And that's why things like meditation or healing or prayer or being reflective is so important, because we're calling our energy back and we're like recycling our vitality. We are refueling our restorative essence. And it's really powerful if you get to do that for an hour, right? Imagine the amplified effects if you have someone with you helping you, as well as not just meditating for 10 minutes, but meditating for, like, let's say an hour, and you're deep. And it's so healing because, again, it's that simple concept of I'm restoring myself. I'm putting attention on myself. And whether it's like sometimes you hear about practitioners saying they're cutting cords, or you're carrying energy. You could be carrying so many different emotions. We all do. We're human. We're full of emotions. Um, and it could be even excess positive emotions that are just draining us, like we are just too excited and it's creating anxiety, right? Or when like people are in love, sometimes they have like this anxiety, and they're just their energy and their aura is just overexerted. So like think about the positive and the negative, and just how we have to return back to center to feel like, I feel like myself, or not only do I feel like myself, but I feel like a clear version of myself, or the most powerful version of myself. Because you could feel like yourself, but there's like different states of feeling like yourself, and different feelings and senses of being within your power, different awareness levels of leveling up or being in a better place for yourself. And so it's always, I think, important to invest, whether it's time or money or resources, some type of investment for yourself, because your time, your money is valuable. The people that you put your inner self, they're valuable experiences, and they can amplify or deplete. And sometimes it's just neutral. But to use that value and that awareness for yourself to regenerate, restoration, because I feel like we do so many things. And if you are active or busy, that means like possibly you're on your path, right? Right? When we're busy, sometimes we're walking with purpose. And whether we find ourselves scattered and a little lost, or walking within our purpose, we are putting so much of our energy out into the world. And that's a beautiful thing, because we want the world to change for the better. We want to inspire people. We want to connect to people. When we have loving relationships, like with our friends and family, or with our spouse or a partner, we are putting so much energy out, because we are, being um sharing with our love and affection, or our emotions, to help to bring something a little bit better, with that restorative energy of the love, or with the attention that amplifies the experience of not just being alone, but the shared energy together. Like, you're putting out effort, and that's what I think life should be about. Like, we shouldn't be in this alone. But the power of when we step away, and we're not alone, but we have time for ourselves. Because I think one of the truly most powerful places are when you're in a room full of people you love, right? Or sharing, vulnerable moments of healthy interactions with someone you love, or when you're like by yourself, and you can restore your own energy, and you're never alone in any of those scenarios. Because I feel, at least, like when you are by yourself, you are having help from the spirit world, right? You're having help from your loved ones, you're having help from angels or guides, and that's the whole thing. Like, we're never alone. That's why I don't think it's ever really healthy to be. You could have a lot. I love alone time. I'm prefacing this. I absolutely love and adore alone time. In fact, I probably utilize it more than other people. So I think it's really important to know what your needs are within that. But I don't ever feel like I'm alone. I always feel like I just have, guidance around me. I feel like I have the universe with me. I feel like I have things with me that always inspire and communicate with me. And it feels calming and at peace. And if I want the human interaction, then I look for something that is like that, of that quality around me. But when I go out into the world and share that, rather than just receive it purely in spirit form or energetic form. So, whatever it is, it's just so important for you within your own life to go, how am I calling back my energy? And it could be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It could be on any level. Like, getting a massage, going for yoga, journaling, singing, right? Stretching, going for a walk, again, calling a friend. Sometimes there are just they're beautiful friends that help call back our soul. You have to feel like you're getting some type of soul or healthy nourishment. Um, I would say it's more rare friends that help us call our back our energy. They're the special people. So I make exceptions for special people, right? But or just sitting at the beach. But whatever it is, I would say most times it's about being comfortable in your own energy and to sit within your own power of what you need, whether how hard it is to be in the presence of yourself, just let's say closing your eyes, turning off your thoughts. Or, having not much stimulus around you. How difficult is that? And what comes up within you? Or how easy is that? And there's always going to be difficulties and easiness, no matter how skilled you are. And it's going to let you know about where you're at emotionally, what your needs are, and even what your values are, with how important your self care, restoration, and calling back your energy is. So, I like someone put down walking my puppy. That's beautiful. I mean, fur babies are the best. And then going for a walk outside, I'm just unconditional. Animals are unconditional love. They really are. Like, so that's always a thumbs up from me. But whatever it is, yes, call back your energy. And if you do want to be social that day, if you do want to be really social that week, um, you are in a place where you are coming in with your own energy at a more balanced, aware, and stronger place. And that always creates more magnetism of the experiences you want, the people that you want around you, and what comes your way. So it's a win-win. And so put out your energy, and bring back your energy. It's a win win if you have a great balance of both. And sometimes you need more than others. And I think a lot of us need to call back our energy a little bit more, but it's different for everybody. So, with that said, think on those things, and we will be back in just a moment. Hello, and welcome back. Just like that, we are back. So I'm gonna bring in YuSon and wish her a warm welcome. Hello, hello. How are you doing?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good, YuSon. It's great to see you. I want to introduce you to everybody
Hey,
and
everyone.
present how wonderful you are. Oh, we have a little bit of an echo, just heads up, but that's okay. So, YuSon, Shin is a gifted healer, intuitive medium, speaker, author, and teacher of the healing and intuitive arts based in Los Angeles. YuSun loves teaching and holds workshops designed to help students awaken their own spiritual gifts and superpowers. She believes everyone has the power to heal themselves. She's an expert practitioner in a wide variety of healing techniques because she feels there is no one size fits all when working with her clients. She utilizes Akashic records and Chinese energy healing techniques to perform past life, karmic, and ancestral clearings. And she is also a practitioner of the Benston energy healing method and hosts the Los Angeles Benson workshops. She is a certified Reiki master and also uses integrated energy therapy, fifth dimensional quantum healing, quantum touch, DNA theta, and access bars. She is an author of 6 books, such as Manifestations, Whispers from the Heart, Soul Warrior, The Empath Effect, Be Bold, and Ignite Your Inner Fire. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are writing, you are learning, you are teaching, you are healing, you are reading, you're doing it all.
And I love it all. So I'm just
Yeah.
doing everything that I like. So
You're in a whirlwind of just living to the fullest.
that's what it feels like. It's been very busy.
Where do you find this year that your energy is most in out of all the passions and talents you have?
This year, I've been drawn to like really, really healing, and healing comes from being a good healer. Actually, comes from being healed myself, and so I'm actually, going to be traveling a lot more this year, really healing from within, silencing my own chitter chatter, and really listening to my sources, my guides. I have a direct relationship with source. I just call it God for short. It's just a
Yeah.
short name. And just being able to tune in and like really listening to the messages that I'm being given, and the synchronicities that happen when you listen is really amazing. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. The synchronicities are out of this world.
Absolutely. A lot of people have different names for what they call like their guides or God or the universe, but listening to that place bigger than yourself, or allowing things to come to you. So you go, okay, I'm not going to just overthink this sign. I feel like it's something bigger than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it takes having a quiet mind in order to actually listen and hear. Because if, imagine if you're in a room full of like 100 people and they're all talking at once, it's quieting that space so that you can hear that one important voice. And sometimes that's your own voice, much less your guides. So,
Yeah. And I think that's an important point because just starting in a place where you understand, well, what's really my own voice? Or what does even silence feel like? Someone kind of put down earlier in the comments how they love silence and that's like really important for them to experience. And a lot of times there's so much busyness around us that we don't actually know how to listen to subtleties, or we don't even know what they mean when they come up. We're just like, what the heck is that? I'm
yeah, we
still
can.
like that sometimes. What the heck is that?
Analysis paralysis is very real,
Oh, yeah.
trying to dissect every little thing. And sometimes it's just a matter of feeling into it and being guided.
Yeah. So, if I may ask, so growing up, I'm aware of that you came from a background where there was a lot of like logical, analytical thinkers, right? So, did you develop analysis paralysis at a young age because of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually a late bloomer. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. And, I also grew up in a very volatile, angry household. And so a lot of, the development was based on trauma. So being able to, and I'm sure people can relate to that as well. Everyone's gone through something, and it's not that you're playing victim or anything, but everything also helps develop you into who you are. And so I'm really thankful. Um, and it took me a while to get there for all the way that I grew up. I had a really abusive, verbally abusive father, and just using my intuition, and I didn't really realize it at the time, that I was hypersensitive to people's moods because of that. And that was the start.
Absolutely. I mean, if you are sensitive and you have someone projecting so aggressively, it's like a firestorm.
Absolutely. And it's all
Fries
about
the nerves.
self-protection.
It's all about self-protection. Did you say projection or protection or both? Or
Yeah, exactly. Because, if you're in an abusive relationship of any kind, whether it's, growing up or in a personal relationship, they always want to silence you. So that projection is also learning how to own, your talents and your strengths and project that as well.
Did you feel like growing up, since you had such strong projectors around you of their emotions, did you find that initially it was hard for you to project your own emotions because you were so used to receiving and being so sensitive, naturally
Yeah,
empathetic?
absolutely. The biggest concern for me was not being seen or heard, and that's what I was taught growing up. Because being seen and heard meant that you were putting yourself out there and possibly putting yourself in danger. So that's a really important lesson. So I had to relearn how to be myself and to be unapologetic about it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. With with being so sensitive from such a young age and having those experiences, when did you feel like you started developing like leadership because you were so aware and you were so in depth with your experiences and so used to those energies that, let's say you knew you could start traversing that with explaining what that meant for other people? When did you start, I guess, putting your foot on the path for leadership?
It wasn't until my 20s, and I'm well beyond that now. But they always say that as you grow older, you get more comfortable in your own skin, and it felt better and safer to actually be myself, to own who I am. And it wasn't until then, but I kind of stumbled on developing my intuition because I wanted to, growing up in a logical, analytical household, I wanted to actually, get ahead in my career. And I kept seeing these quotes by Einstein and Steve Jobs and Richard Branson saying that intuition is what, made them super successful. And, that's what they say is a superpower. So, and that's how I got started on taking classes and finding out what my gifts are.
Wow. So through reading, you're like, there's something more that they're doing. I want to figure out what that is.
Yeah, and how can I help myself? I'm all about, making life easier.
Yes, that's a good
So who
mindset.
wants
Yes.
difficulties? I know I don't. So it's all about making life easier and doing the whole, being really aware of your own intuitive gifts. That makes life so much easier. You save time and money. You can really establish, like, is this class that I'm interested in going to really help me? And you can tune into that. You can save yourself a lot. Should I go left or right? You can intuit into that. Is this person good for me or not? um, a lot of people kind of put a mask on, and it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, and I mean, from our experience within our lives and, my personal belief on it for sure, the more you enact that muscle, that knowing within yourself, the easier those questions, they're not always easy, but the easier those questions are to navigate by far.
Yeah, absolutely. It is exactly like a muscle. So, initially you're going to feel wimpy and, flabby. And pretty soon, after a whole lot of, flexing your muscles, um, I know you've got a six pack and, ginormous muscles, Kelly.
Maybe in some departments, but but you do too. Yeah, we all have muscles in different departments.
Yeah, but we flex them. We exercise them. So it,
Gotta do some more
like
leg
anything
day.
else. Yeah.
Yes, we all have correct. We all have muscles in different departments and, sometimes I was just kind of joking like maybe some of us don't do leg day or arm day or something because there's so much to develop. Um how do you feel like your intuition has grown over the course of, let's say, 10 years?
I no longer see it as something that's separate from me. I see it as something that's part of me, and I utilize it in everyday life, in everyday decision making. So it really has like integrated fully into my life. And at one point when I was starting, it felt very separate. It felt like,
Mhm.
and it also felt a little overwhelming. It's like, how exactly do I use it? What exactly do I do? And there are so many different ways. So which one is right for me? So that type of thing. But as I've developed and as everyone has their own path, um, I noticed that, my basic intuition that I've learned, almost 2 decades ago, now it had evolved into mediumship and then medical mediumship. And now I'm doing animal communication. I'm simply following what feels good and what actually evolves in my life.
Yeah.
So but I use it in every single area now. So, and new doors are opening all the time.
How do you feel like, let's say, your personal life has changed because it's just a part of you, as well as your, let's say, career life has changed?
Yeah. So, I spent a lot of time knowing that I was intuitive and taking those classes, but um, for a long time, I hid my gifts, and I was in the closet about it. And I really had to learn that in order to fully express myself and to fully grow into my own powers, I had to be out of the closet. I needed to be, because the closet is this small. You can only grow to about this small, this big. So if you want to be bigger, you have to come out.
What about if people have walk-in closets?
I envy them, but they still need to come out.
Yes, yes. Don't lock yourself in the closet, everybody, please. You need oxygen.
Right. And you'll grow to as big as your room allows, right? So if you're, outside and free, you there's infinite potential there. But if you keep yourself small, that's where you will stay.
Yeah, I think, like, just the understanding of how you grow within this work and to allow everything in your life to support you to continue to do so, and there has to be these major changes that you go, okay, well, I have to accept that this is me 100%.
Right.
And there's, like, maybe, 100% is just like a metaphor, but there's all these resistances that want to come up and be healed or not to be
Mhm.
healed.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of resistance, it's one of the things that I specialize in my practice. It's clearing the blocks, clearing the repetitive patterns of behaviors, clearing the fears that keep, popping up. It's, once you clear those things, you'll find that your path is a lot smoother and more clear, and you can get to where you want faster. So again, I'm all about doing things faster.
Yeah, yeah. Do you when you are working with clearing blockages and resistance, are you working with the body and the aura and how things sit there? What is your style, and what techniques do you use the most within your work? Because I know you have a lot of things that you can use, but what are your go-tos often? What therapies?
Yeah, so I work within the mind, body, and spirit, and the aura. So, um, and like, there's so many different techniques, but the my go-to is doing ancestral and past life and present life clearings. So, using the Akashic records, using Chinese energy healing, and I use, without a doubt, every single session, whether it's, mediumship or something else. I use the Bankston method, and just to give people energy. Everyone seems like when I tune into them, there's a certain level of anxiety in society now, with groceries being like $1 million for one bag.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That I try to refuel them before they take off again. So the Bankston energy is really great for that, and it's the only one scientifically tested to cure cancer in mice and show that mice
Wow.
can't get the cancer again too.
Wow. So can you tell me a little, because I'm not familiar with the Bankston method, Ben, what you're telling me with studies with taking away cancer in mice, can you go more into just this therapy or what has been researched with it? I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so it was developed by a man called Dr. William Bankston. He's a doctor of sociology, and he developed it very early on in his life. And you know, he's considers himself a skeptic. So he developed this, but he still didn't feel like he needed evidence to prove that it was real, that it worked. And so he's very much science based, and he tests everything, all of his theories, and he's taught skeptics this simple technique, which makes no sense, but in a way, but I feel like it does. It taps into the quantum fields without all of the resistance. So you know how our subconscious tends to block us. With self-sabotage and things like that. Anytime we want to aspire to something or anything else, our subconscious always says, well, who do you think you are? You haven't achieved this before. Why do you think you'll achieve it now? And our inner critic is very real, and it gets rid of that element, and that's how it creates this tapping into the quantum field without the self-sabotage, and then um, that's what makes it a great manifesting technique as well as a healing technique, because it makes us whole. It makes us reach for the infinite. I don't
So
know if
it's
that makes sense.
no, no, no. I'm feeling it as you're talking. So it like reconstructs like neural pathways as well as energetically, like beyond just the brain and how we receive energy, and it can like amplify what our body and brain feels like it can do to heal ourselves.
Right. Without burdening ourselves with how. How is it going to be done? We don't
Right.
need to know how. We just need to know that it will get there.
Right. It's just like, just can we do it? And it's like, yeah, we can do it now. Before it was like, no, we can't do this. Yeah, we can do it now.
Exactly.
There's all these like kind of memes sometimes, like with like, just do it, like, why can't you do it? Just do it. And it's just like, yeah, if it's able to just be done, cool, but there are all these resistances and blockages within the soul and the psyche sometimes, and it's real.
Mhm. Yeah, and whether you believe in past lives or not, there could have been some traumatic events that happened in a past life that is now like kind of has a bleed through effect into this lifetime, and but we may not be aware of it. If we can clear that, that would make life easier. Also ancestral things that are taught from generation to generation, and also kind of ingrained in our DNA, we can get rid of that as well. So it's so important to be able to get rid of a lot of these common issues through clearings.
Absolutely. And you said it's someone was asking about the doctor's name again. It's Dr. Benston.
William Bankston, B as in boy, Endston. He wrote a book called The Energy Cure, and you can get it on Amazon. It's a really fun, fast read. It's actually like his life story of how he stumbled upon this healing technique.
So Okay, I'm gonna back it up now. I'm gonna rewind it. Um, you knew that you wanted to study intuition because you were reading about like Albert Einstein and Steve Jobs, and so what was one of the first things you did? Like, what was one of the first classes you took? The modality that you looked into? What was it?
Yeah. I didn't know where to look. I actually, Meetup was really big at the time. And I looked up, intuitive studies on Meetup. And I found a woman who, a Thai lady, Tina Saley, and she actually teaches a lot of Thai students now in Thailand. But she was doing everything out of her home. And all I knew is I wanted to get ahead in my career. I was a real estate and corporate paralegal at the time. I've since retired as of last November, but
Nice.
yeah. And she pretty much had studied so many things in, because she has this curiosity too, and basic intuition. Then she took us into channeling, and I started channeling. And she didn't teach healing per se, but she did the Akashic Records. We did Archangel Reiki, working with the angels, and like so many different things. I've learned so much from her. She was my start. She was that one nurturing teacher that, we would pretty much camp out at her house.
That's cool. That's cool when someone's so supportive like that.
Yeah. So finding someone who is just, gentle and patient, and will kind of work to, see you develop, that's really important. And, I've had a lot of good teachers in my lifetime, as I'm sure you have. And it means, it makes a huge difference.
It does. It makes a huge difference, and I will say, like, if someone's willing to be so nurturing and patient and to facilitate that environment for multiple students, that's a pretty
Mhm.
special environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now when I teach, I try to be that, but also without placing limits, because if a teacher says, oh, this is hard or you're not good at this, that could have a lasting impact. So, you know, teaching someone and letting them know there are no limits. Just because you're not good at something now doesn't mean you're not going to be excellent when you flex those muscles later. So we can all grow, and our timing is our own, and there's no judgment there. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I do feel like even if we have certain abilities, like they're meant to like change and we're supposed to still grow and learn about other parts of ourselves and um yeah, it's really lovely that you just continue to have these other types of accessing energy within your life, within your work.
yeah, I'm so happy when I'm learning, because it taps into other parts of myself that I didn't even know, I was excited about. So I could be learning all day, but it's also important to pass on what I've learned, to like the next set of, interested parties. So,
Yeah.
um,
Keep
yeah.
it going, keep it going. What were some of the so you were, like, invested and you knew in the classes that you were like, "Okay, I wanna be here," but when were some of the moments that you had that kind of, like, blew your mind where you're just like, "Is this real? Like, okay, like, this is something for me."
Um, Well, it's all about, in the initial stages, like gaining the confidence, because you're just not quite sure, what is real, what is not. And my first teacher, Tina, had a blog talk radio show, and she would have her best students on, and we would give readings to people all over the country, sometimes even internationally. And the feedback that we got really helped us. And she laid that out for us, and it had that as an opportunity for us to grow. Um, so getting that validation is super duper important. Um, some of the, I mean, gosh, like I use my intuition. Like one time, I don't know, I was giving a healing session to someone, and I don't know what, sometimes information just kind of comes through me, and I don't remember anything that I've said. But I said, it feels like your organs are in the wrong place. It feels like it's
Mm.
opposite. And I don't know why I said that, but she said that she went to the doctor afterwards. She had already had a scheduled appointment. And it turns out that some of her organs were on the opposite side of her body. I'm like,
That's yeah. That's what I was guessing when you were talking about it, but that's very rare. But yes, it does
yeah,
exist. Incredibly rare. Interesting. That's
exactly.
wow.
So that,
Wow.
like, my mind, is blown.
Yes. Yes. You'd be like, what? I actually knew about, right?
Right.
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
And,
Um,
just like so many different things, like, tapping in mediumistically, and knowing about certain childhood events that they shared with someone in spirit, and having that shared with me, and, having that validated, that it's just like, how would I have known? People often, criticize mediums, saying that we find things on Facebook. I never look up anyone on Facebook, but like, there's nothing in their childhood that would have been publicly, public
right.
information, right?
Right. There's those moments where you're like, sorry, there's no other way I could have known this.
Yeah.
Um, Before you got into the classes of intuition development, did you have any experiences where you kind of like logically thought them away?
Um,
Whether it's healing or anything?
okay, so with healing, I've always felt like a calling, and I've been taking classes for almost 3 decades.
Yeah.
So different, whenever I got the money, I would take a different type of class and see what felt right. But the intuitive part, just didn't logically make sense. Like, if I can't see it, it's not for real. Well, that's my old way of thinking, right? So
Yeah.
there were so many things that I pushed away, hints, things that I just knew was actually going to happen. I would have dreams that actually did happen. I don't have them as much anymore, but things like that where you couldn't explain it away.
Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. Um, Things come in certain streams. Absolutely. I I'm a big fan of like dreams, like you just mentioned dreams and how they can guide us, whether it's like metaphor or actually. And yeah, I do think that sometimes like we'll be shown things in a way where it's like we're forced to, you know, go, okay, I remembered that dream. I can't ignore it. It's sitting right in my head because, like, the really weird dreams, they just replay in your head all day,
Yeah,
right?
so vivid and lifelike, right?
Right, right. And you can't really get away, like, you can't really get away from your own mind. And
Mhm.
so, like, that seed gets planted with the subconscious, but you're conscious of it. And that's like, yeah, it's like, wake up. This is possible. Wake up.
Yeah, and sometimes you work it out in your dream state, and doing it and implementing in real life, you're like, "Oh, I just did it." So,
Are you like a lucid dreamer as you say that?
totally by not by on purpose. So I do it, but I don't know how to do it on purpose.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're just like, "Okay, like, I'm here, I have flexibility for whatever reason. Let's do it."
Yeah.
Someone was talking about, "Today I had a dream about my handwriting, but I don't know what I was writing, but someone loved my handwriting." Yeah, like, sometimes it's just odd stuff, it's just odd stuff or, like, validations, um, of ourself even within our own dreams to make us feel certain ways. I think there's so much energy and messages calling at us constantly from the universe. And so if in dreams or in other ways, what do you find, or how do you find, excuse me, that messages find you most often?
Maybe because I started channeling with my very first teacher, I just feel like it gets channeled through me. And I'll find myself saying things, sometimes exact phrases or keywords that will mean something to me and also to the person that I'm talking to. And it could be a casual conversation, but they'll say, "Oh my God, I just said that to my friend in on the phone."
Yeah, yeah.
Get
How
so much.
about when go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, how about when you're not even trying to, because you talked about like the lucid, you're like, I'm in it. I didn't expect it, but I'm in it, right? What kind of just comes when you're just relaxed and you're like, oh, that was a message, okay? Or how does it come?
It's when I have my resistance down because it's again, this thing gets in the way, and just being open. And a lot of times when we're right in that wake state or dream state, like right before you fall asleep or right when you get up, there are certain things that you can do that you're not putting limitations on, and so a lot of magic happens at that time.
Well, yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I am always don't expect to get, certain dreams, but I'll go like, "Oh, okay, that led me to somewhere." Um, or I will see like numbers, at certain intervals within my life. I'll see certain number patterns coming up or certain colors. I'll just or names. I'll just whatever the symbol is, I'll just be getting blasted with symbols, and I'll just be like, okay, just awareness where this is happening now, and I guess and this one's happening now, right?
Yeah. But sometimes it's all about just being a good observer. Like when you're in that state, just being open, letting it kind of march through and out, and like taking note without trying to control it. So
Yeah, lots of taking notes. I agree.
yeah,
um and like just not I agree, like not overthink. I mean, sometimes it's fun to overthink it. I mean, sorry, my brain works like that, like, you know what I mean, like I'm not like I will say, I don't know, maybe you have advice on this, but I will say that I do enjoy overthinking things, but I do it in a way where I'm like, I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm just like, where is this coming from, and how did this happen, and it's just like, because the universe is awesome, and is this possible, okay, like, like,
well, I think there's a major difference between questioning and just asking a lot of questions because that could actually open you up more. And
yes.
I'm a big proponent of that. But it's when you try to look at things through your analytical filter, it's just so, everything's like this, but your filter's like that. You're going to get a smaller outcome, right? A smaller point of view, not as wide lens as it could be.
That's great advice, because let's say we do get energy and we're like really curious about it, and let's say we do want to understand it, but maybe, not attach so much to the outcome. Like, why not feel it? Like, why not, I don't know, hear it? Why not open up how you understand it, right? Because so many people, and like myself too, like I'll find myself, I'm like, well, oh, I'm like just analyzing this with the mind. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it could be a full body experience.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of times, just even talking about our guides, my guides have a calling card. So um, all of a sudden, this part of my face will feel like buzzing and tingling, and
Mm.
I'll know it's one of my guides. There's another guide that activates this part. And
Oh,
so it can be a full body experience. And that's really like, that's when the oohs and the ahs and the ahas happen.
I agree. I agree. And activating different parts of ourselves, like how does this feel within my heart, this situation or this occurrence? How does it feel in my solar plexus? How does it feel just in my hands, right? Just it should be full body. Like we're I think that's like the one of the biggest things. Like we're in a physical vessel, we're in a human vessel, even though I feel that we're so much more than that. Why can't we light up our human vessel with the information coming in? Why is it such just a mental experience?
Right.
Um yeah.
So, we're not trained to do that. We're trained to distrust both our minds and our bodies. But what would it be like, again, questioning, but making it more open? How would it feel just to know things? How would it feel, to have different sensations in our body tell us our truth? So being open to all of that.
I think like Reiki work and the theta healing work that you do and just the Chinese healing. The everything that you do. There's so many things. I don't know everything that you do, but I know a good amount, right?
Uh-huh.
It's just it does create that body awareness. It really does. I know that from, my experiences as being a healer versus an intuitive, I have a completely different body awareness from, that experience than I do from anything with mediumship and psychic. You know what I mean? Like with mediumship, I have just there's no body experience hardly, and with healing or psychic, with how they merge for me, because that they merge more so for me, I have a lot of body awareness that I didn't quite have before. How about with yourself? How's your body awareness shifted since you work so much with the body?
Yeah, so I actually had to train myself because at one point, with the whole logical upbringing, I sometimes when we don't acknowledge what we feel because we're going through some trauma or whatever, we tend to shut down, and then you have to learn to open up again. So at one point, I only knew I felt either good or bad.
Mm, for
And that
real,
was
yeah.
it. I was fully shut down. And so to kind of reignite the feelings, I had to get familiar with myself again. Like, what does it feel like my toe, when it, and practicing that. And when I work, it it's always like a full body experience. With mediumship, I don't like to know how people passed. I like to know how people lived. And
Yeah.
so they will give me sensations about like how they felt when they lived. And I can relay that on. In healing, I can, have a good sense of their bodies and their auric bodies and things like that. So it does become a full body experience. And then like checking my like analytical mind at the door, like it has no room in the energy work because it'll just get in the way. I love puppies, I love dogs, but there are sometimes like my dog, when I had her, she's in spirit now, but she would just like want to be so close to me that she was always kind of in the way. And then there are sometimes like you're doing things that could be dangerous for little dogs, and you just have to like put her in into a little spot. And that's what I kind of do with my analytical brain. I'm like, well, you stay
Ah.
right here. Don't get in my way.
Please, please, yeah.
And you want to be gentle because it's all part of you anyway. So that's what you kind of have to do. That's what I do. I kind of gently leave my analytical, doubtful mind at the door. And then I pick it back up later when I'm out and about doing whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah, managing your energy and that's funny, the analytical mind sometimes means no harm, just like a little puppy, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, you have to be like, hey, not today, like, or not right now. I yes, with you said like within your body awareness too, you went from just knowing, do I feel good or do I not feel good, to like understanding like how to feel your your toes and how to feel just like yourself. That's like a very empowering recollection and enactment to start within your healing. Like that's a big shift, huge shift.
Yeah. And a lot of it had to do with just trusting what came up in my body, and knowing that each sensation had some truth to it, you know? So, if I'm feeling nervous and anxious, it's like, wow, where's that coming from? And sometimes knowing the root source is really important. It could be that I'm being triggered from old traumas from, not feeling safe because my dad didn't make me feel safe, and that's going back a ways, but knowing that root source and going, okay, I'm safe now. I don't have to worry. So take a deep breath and we can carry on. We can clear that.
Again, that's huge that you are aware of that past, present, and allowing yourself to step into the future with so much body awareness and mind and emotion and spirit awareness. Yeah, that's very powerful.
Hmm.
What are some, I'm going to transition. What are some of the classes that you have going on right now that you would like people to know about?
Okay, so I've taken tens of thousands, if not
Thousands.
more, of classes, and in offering my own, I wanted to make sure that I gave people a good foundation. And so I do that in a 2-day workshop. Actually, I have one coming up July, Saturday and Sunday, July 22nd and 23rd, I believe. And it's like laying the foundation of intuition and using that intuition to go into 6 different healing modalities, doing medical mediumship, doing mediumship as well. So really just tapping into, it's really using the same muscles but in different ways. So I try to save people money and really do fun exercises that people are doing together, in pairs and also with the group, so that you get the validation, you hear the feedback, and that really instills confidence. So
Yeah,
and,
the
yeah,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
and I lowered the price to like, under $500. So
I was gonna say, yeah, the some of the best classes I think are when you're in groups and you get that whether rather than small groups like super small groups or one-on-one instruction, like you need that synergy and that group feedback. That's really important.
yeah, and fostering the class to really learn and heal together, you create a bond. And we have a buddy system that's set up too, so it really does make for a much better experience.
Absolutely. With the medical mediumship, what are some of the things that they're going into within this class if anyone's interested?
So basically, just really fine tune your intuition and being able to scan someone's body, just to note, like, what's coming up for you. And just because I feel certain things, it could show up as different things for you. So I might feel it in my body, I might feel it in my hands, but for you, you might just know it. So I really foster everyone using their own abilities and their own strengths, and not having them question. Like, some people, when you take classes, you have to do it exactly like the teacher. And that's what they tell you. Like, it won't work unless you do it exactly like this. I want to be able to show people that you can use your own gifts and strengths and still get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like it's a more of experiential experience.
Exactly.
Excellent. So, how can people find you to sign up for the class, or if they want to see what other things that you're doing, like with social media and your website? Like, your website is posted, but if you could share, I guess, where people can find you additionally.
So my website is YuSonShin.com, YuSonShin.com, and or Shin Healing Arts. All of my social media is under Shin Healing Arts. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube.
And they're all either Shin Healing Arts or YuSon Shin with the.
All of the social media is under Shin Healing Arts, but
Gotcha.
my website can be found under both either.
Perfect. Um, Something I always like to do as well is to offer kind of the last word back to the guest. Anything that you would like to share from your heart or that's intuitively coming in, whatever it is off the cuff.
Well, I like to tell people two things. One, clear your clutter. So have good energy hygiene, which means grounding yourself, running your energy, and filtering out what isn't yours. And secondly, follow your bliss. Like, I think Joseph Campbell said it best. Like, if you follow what makes you happy, it'll lead you to like these amazing experiences and people that bring like so much value into your life, things that you never even could have imagined. So I know miracles have happened in my life because of that.
Follow your bliss. You heard it from YuSon. So thank you so much, YuSon, for coming today and sharing your gifts and your abilities with everything that you've learned and that you're sharing. Thank you so much. Absolutely. With that said, I want to tell everyone, please. You can find us on Friday for the reading show. And with that said, please go with love, luck, light. Don't forget to laugh and live. Take care. See you on Friday, everybody. And thank you, YuSon. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
The truth is here and now on WLTKDB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.